Welcome to Pax Europiana. I'm here in Kosovo. This is the main government building where many ministries are, for example, and I will talk now about the European Kataster for Albania, for Kosovo, urban planning, cleaning up the property sector. It's so important. But let me first honor here, they have a monument for the Declaration of Independence of Albania. This is wonderful. Austria was helping in 1912 for the independence, and we are very happy to have this beautiful monument, and Austria and Albania and Kosovo are friends. We're working together historically, and I'm happy they celebrate here the independence of Albania. With some wisdom, Kosovo could have been included already back then, but the mountains, there was this big physical barrier. The Serbs wanted to have it, and then there were decisions were unfortunate, and it led to genocide. The first genocide already 1912-13, and then after the independence and after the First World War, in the First World War, a lot of horrors have happened here. But okay, this is history. Now we talk about the future. Here's the Ministry of Urban Planning. This is the big building, Environment Spatial Planning, very important ministry for the future. And in the background, I think it's very appropriate. You see an Albanian group, Alba Group, is building the biggest tower here. And I will talk now about all these issues concerning Kataster, urban planning, and business-friendly municipalities, digital construction permit, cleaning up property rights, and money laundering aspects. Because they are all important and they matter very much, and they're both really not so good in Albania and in Kosovo. And that's really the last two countries where it's not working so well. And it's time to clean that up, also to show the Europeans that Albania is ready for the EU membership, but also in 24, but also Kosovo in 29. And that these are our allies, but also they understand good governance now. And here at this square of the independence of Albania, with this, I think it should be one of the signers of the Declaration 1912. Here then the flag of Kosovo on the government building, and here the Albanian logo of this Albanian group, which builds here the biggest tower. This area I call Manhattan of Pristina, because it has 40 levels of building, and it's very important to understand what's going on and why and what needs to be done. First of all, what I call European Kataster is simply what the Albanian experts in Macedonia have already done, the Macedonian Kataster. Nothing more, nothing less. It works perfectly. Full transparency, full accountability, full accuracy of everything you want to build, of the land parcel, of the apartments, of the future apartments, able to be mortgaged to the banking system. And the Austrian banks in Macedonia are very happy to lend for apartments at cheap interest rates, because this is working. The Kataster in Macedonia is working. And in Albania, there is a lot of problems in the so-called hypothek, they call the Kataster there. And here the Kosovo Kataster agency, it's going now better. But in 2014, when I was working on that project, it was really a real disaster. And this has to stop. We need clear ownership rights for everybody, clarity in the ownership right. It can be done according to the Macedonian model, and it must be done. Both countries also to digitalize the construction permits, so important, and a clear thing where the mayors obviously hand out the land and rights and licenses to their key supporters from the construction industries. You see the town is booming everywhere, things are happening, and then it's only Kosovo and Albania which are not in the German-led initiative for business-friendly municipalities called BFC SEE, and these are the only countries you see then also in the ranking of World Bank doing business where it's not going good. And it's going better than in the past, but it should be much better. It should be the European flag here on these places, and it should be also clean and according to European standards. It's much better for the people who buy the property then. They are secure. It's better for the banks to fund it. In Austria, we buy property with minimal amount of money and with a lot of loans from the banks, because that's of course much better for the population, easier to fund. It lifts the country up to the next level of prosperity. So BFC is very important. Business-friendly municipalities, please Kosovo, join that program, make sure it works, and that's really a success. In Bosnia, where I was driving in 2019, Every single municipality has a big table. We are business-friendly SME municipality certified by German government, BFC, thank you very much, invest here. That's good. Of course, it's also not perfect there, but that's at least some progress. And in Macedonia, the digital construction permitting process is the world best. And no wonder they are more advanced than Kosovo and Albania. And so let's get going with this. Let me address also the issue of money laundering. Here is the central bank. Here is, it's not the seat of the Kataster agency, it's somewhere else, but it's the ministry in charge of it. So money laundering can be supervised very easily if there's a digital cooperation, interoperability of money of the key agencies, Kataster, central bank and the tax authority. You can easily say who earned what kind of taxed money, how can he have 20 properties. How do the construction companies fund such projects? Is there money laundering? What to do? It can be easily understood. And we work seemingly very seriously with that one, with the institutional cooperation. And when there is then drug money laundered or political money laundered or untaxed money laundered, you have just a red marker in the tax agency, you ask the Kataster agency, oh really? And then you have interoperability with the Albanian authorities, Kataster, tax and money, banking. And then you say, hey, Alba Group, where did you find the 20 million to build this? Or maybe it costs 40 million, I don't know exactly, but something like this. And it's quite easy then to clean up the economy. You say, okay, at least make an amnesty, let him pay 5%, the taxation level is 10, at least he can pay 5% of that, then his money is clear, it's cleaned. When he has a lot of illegal revenues, you ask him where it comes from, is it from drug-related money? Okay, then you make a criminal case against him, and you basically take the property into state custody, sell it off on the private market to other people who want to have apartments, and you punish the guy and send him to prison. Thank you very much, it's not so complicated. And in Brussels they will notice, oh, it's clean now. No hitting of illegal drug laundering money from Netherlands. And then the Dutch will say, oh, I see, it's working in Albania and Kosovo. We can cooperate with the tax authorities in Europe and with the central banks. And okay, the wild times are over. It's now time for Europe. And it is a simple process. We have this digitalization of data exchanges. You log into the European data exchange networks of the tax authorities, of the land authorities. We don't have so much, but we should. And with of course, with the customs and with the central banks. And then you see how much money comes in, interesting, where does it come, is it transported in cash, okay, good, then let's make a raid, let's work together, let's open the arms, let's be European. And suddenly, everybody is safer, because also your businesses who are not in the money laundering business, the other construction company who just sells an apartment and has to go to Raiffeisen Bank for the loan, it has to less profits. You understand? They will be very happy. They will be amazing, making more profits, because the dumping of drug-related kind of real estate on the real estate market is then coming to a halt. And I think it's good for everybody. So that's, I think, the way to do it. And that's the way to clean up a country. And that's now time to do it. In the digital construction permit, in the European Kataster, in the business-friendly certification, and it's all there. It's not so complicated, actually. In the interoperability of the main institutions, central bank, tax authority, and Kataster agency, also with the regional peers and together with the European partners. And good. And then we are in Europe, because now it's time for Europe. It's time for Europe. And in 10 years, Kosovo, Bosnia can be member of European Union as well. In 2029 you vote for European Parliament. Beautiful. And then the Serbs one day will be also Europeans in the European Union once they have joined NATO, aligned with our strategic foreign policy and recognized Kosovo, hopefully soon. I'm very much in favor of that. If not, we wait for another century for them. No problem as well. But the cleanup process has to happen everywhere. That is absolutely necessary. And in this video I described how it works, and I think it's time to get this done. The tools are all there, the funding is all there, the political will is now there as well. So what keeps us? Let's get going. Let's clean it up. Clean government. Pax Europiana. This is the basis for prosperity, because then the middle classes have opportunities as well. Then they don't have to compete against criminal gangs, money laundering schemes and all these things. They can build proper, legitimate businesses much better once this kind of competition from the criminal gangs is over. And that's very important, because crime shouldn't pay. It should be the rule of law, and it will be the rule of law. And for this we need the institutional framework to clean up the existing past of sad reality. So this is needed. European Kataster now, digital construction permits, business-friendly certification, and also the interoperability of the main institutions supervising the construction sector. And also then, of course, to introduce VAT in the construction sector. I made that case already many times. Also property sales tax must be also introduced. And of course things are getting more expensive. Then you need also house administration fees like in Vienna. And you suddenly then say, oh, that's getting all very expensive. Yes, but it works. And then you have a working system. And with a working system you have suddenly as well jobs and the economy which is booming and blossoming. You cannot do the things like you have done in the last 20 years. Europe is a bit more expensive on some things, property tax, VAT for apartments to be sold, and also the property related service charges and the insurances attached and all the other costs of house administration, and suddenly things cost more, but they work. And based on that prosperity you can build an Austrian or European property market with this many hundreds of billions of worth of exchange every year. And then the property you invested in the past is worth something, it stays worth something, it's secure for the long term, and families can build their wealth and fortune based on that system. And that's beautiful. And that's the magic of the mortgage market, of the working European Kataster. And that's what I call for. It's time for that. Thanks a lot. Bye from Pax. More to come.